Dwane, in that fourth quarter, you decided to put the bench out and trust them with John Wall on the floor. What did you see, and what did you get out of him?
Well, it's nothing different than we've done. Just added Freddie to the group. That's the difference. And he, was trying not to make a big deal out of it while he was out to keep our other guys motivated, but he was a difference. I thought that little group has a playing personality that he does make a difference with that group. He's kind of the engine. The toughness is that little birdie on the shoulder. And I thought it really propelled Pascal and those other guys to give them a sense of confidence.
Dwane, what was Fred's impact on the game? What were you most impressed with?
I just the confidence level he gives them, the toughness. I thought he did a heck of a job of guarding Bill. Just didn't want to wear him out because he hadn't played in a while. But I thought he did a good job of bodying and fighting through screens, even with a bad shoulder. Just everything, the toughness, the confidence. He can run pick and rolls. He gets the ball out of DeLon's hands a little bit more. And now on top of all that, you have an opportunity to rest Colin tomorrow.
Coach, could you just summarize the feeling that you have of closing out a game on the road?
It's tough. I said it before we started that, closing out any series in any sport is probably the toughest thing you can do as an organization, as a team, no matter what sport. So it's tough, but, we even keel, we want to enjoy it and celebrate it until midnight, I told the guys, and, we got bigger fish to fry. We still have some, playoff series to go, hopefully, and we got to keep our mind on our business. So. And keep the main thing the main thing. And, Washington is a tough team, well coached by Scotty. Some great competitors in John and Bradley. Gortat, I told him I complained about his screens, but he's one of the best in the league at setting them. And if the officials are not going to call it, keep setting them. And just I'm glad we're, but they have a heck of a team. And I said it before we started. They're not your typical 8 seed. They're a well-coached, well-oiled machine. Unfortunately, had some injuries at an unfortunate time, and put them at the 8 seed.
Coach, you had a couple ugly possessions early in that fourth. There's the Pirtle 3 at the end of the clock, and Siakam bailed you out of one.
You have to remind me, John.
No, I'm curious as to. I'm curious as to.
You think I drew that up? We meant to do that? Wow.
I'm curious as to how. Did it take some fortitude to not at that point go to one of your guys?
That's a good point. That's a good question, though, and it's fair because it was ugly. But with that said, that group had been together. It took them a little while, and usually if you watch us most of the year, those guys have some ugly possessions, but sooner or later they usually figure it out, and that's what they usually do. And most of the time that group has to be unscripted. The more you try to set things up with that group and take away their imagination or whatever it is, it hurts them a little bit. But that was an ugly out-of-bounds play. I totally agree. That's a great assessment on that part. That was one of our worst. But they usually figure it out, and they do. And again, it goes back to that word you use, trust. And we trust them. We've trusted them all year.
Coach, the difference defensively in the fourth quarter, you guys held them to 4 of 15 shooting, turned them over 4 times, crushed them on the glass as well. Difference in the final period.
It was the fourth period. Again, it goes back to the second unit. It allows our guys to rest. DeMar and also Pirtle gives JV a chance to rest. I thought Pascal was super. His energy level, his rebounding, his running the floor, his defense on Wall, his length. But it just allows us, and it gets them deep in their roster as far as Bill had, 43 minutes, and John had 40, and Morris had 38. So they were logging some heavy minutes, and I thought that was a difference in the game, and that was, credited to the second unit.
Dwane, when you finally did go back to Kyle, lead was not all the way secure, but what did you see from him and how he closed out the game?
Well, usually we go back with him in that group, either for CJ or for Delano or whoever we feel like we need to get back in there or get out. And he kind of comes in and helps them. He becomes a shooter with that group. We still have 2 ball handlers with Delon and Fred. So he gives us another ball handler shooter, a little bit more veteran, really. But we've done that all year. And but getting Fred back allows us to do that much easier and more, So, but Fred was the key. He's the key. We're glad to have him back. I just hope, there's no soreness or whatever in his shoulder, but he didn't show any ill effects of fighting through screens and busting through Gortat's great screens.
Dwane, I think it started as early as maybe it was March when people were saying, or coming to you and saying, you've been playing this bench unit, playing five guys. Can you do that in the playoffs? And you were pretty steadfast. You said, yeah, like, why can't I? Is there some satisfaction tonight?
No, never. You can't. The basketball gods will always get you, just like that duck we were talking about before. But the basketball gods will get you if you do that. But, again, I'm still looking for that manual that everybody says you can't play the second unit. They're too young, they're too this, they're too that. Again, as long as they're productive, they're going to play. And they've been good to us all year, and they closed it out for us tonight.
Right. Coach, you mentioned Pascal just a little bit. Not only, you mentioned Fred was the engine. Pascal really was like a spark plug out there. Can you expound on his play?
He was a plus 18, and anytime you're a plus 18, that's huge. He was our best plus minus tonight, and there's a lot of variables that go into that, but he was really, his energy level, running the floor, he can handle the ball in transition. He finally settled down and didn't turn it over. I thought he was a little tight the first couple of games here in handling. He usually handles it well in transition, and tonight he did. We only had 7 turnovers, but I just thought his length and his stick-to-it attitude as far as guarding Wall was huge. That size allowed us to do some switching. Just his overall glue, and then his his offensive rebounding, he did a good job doing, just a little bit of everything. And again, I asked him, I said, do you need Fred that badly? Does Fred mean that much to you? Because it was just almost like as soon as you put Fred in, Pascal just blossomed, and it was a great job of not only him but the whole second unit.
Dwane, Otto Porter doesn't play tonight for them. He was somewhat limited at times during the series. What for the series as a whole and tonight? What was the key for you guys with him and the fact that he wasn't out there at all?
Well, Otto is one of those glue guys. Also, he does a little bit of everything. He's a defender. His length. He was shooting 52% from 3 after the All-Star break. So he was doing a little bit of everything, and it was a huge concern going into the series. And it's very unfortunate. I hope he gets well. But I think he's very important for this team, and that's losing Meeks and Porter, and they had some pieces missing, and again that's part of the NBA. That's part of our whole. I mean, last year nobody felt sorry for us when Kyle missed the last how many games, and then we tried to rush him back during the playoffs, and that's part of our league. But he's an important part of their team.
Dwane, given how you guys, last year in Game 6 against Milwaukee, that was a really tough closeout game. The game here in Game 4 where you could have put a stamp on the series, you didn't quite close. What does it mean for this team, not just the bench but the starters, the way that you closed a closeout game in the fourth quarter in that kind of commanding fashion?
Well, I don't, again, we won. And, I don't get caught up in woulda, coulda last year and all that, but we won. Our guys, we're going into the next series, whoever it is, on a better note than in our first 2 games here. Getting our second unit back in, it gives us a little bit of wholeness as far as both groups are concerned, and do more things and don't have to ramp up Kyle's minutes or DeMar's minutes, all that. So, again, we know who we are, and, you can't get oversatisfied or, happy or, complacent as far as just, close out a series. Again, I said it was going to be difficult, whoever we played, and it wasn't going to be easy.
Games 5 and 6 were statistically far and away your best defensive games, much more in line with the regular season numbers. What did you figure out your team defensively after 4?
Again, some of the matchups we had, some of the things we could do defensively. Don't want to go into all the schemes and everything, but there's doing a couple of different things. But a lot of it is personnel driven. Found some matchups that we liked. Size, length, and some things we could do with Bill, but just different things. I don't want to get into schemes or ideas because we may have to use them again. So, but you guys did a great job. It's all there. Just figure things out. And, when you play a team numerous times, you kind of get used to what they're doing or kind of read what they're doing, and I thought our guys did a good job of doing that.